Hey, it's Drew Bennett from Big Damn Kid, and I have issue number 51 of Transformers. Now, I'm going to do things a little bit differently today. It's going to be shorter. Yesterday was a really long one. And just going through the entire comic and, this is this and this is this, I'm just going to kind of tell you about what happened here in this and my thoughts on it. Where this is directly after the big giant battle with all of the Transformers. They fought Starscream, and now it's after that. We've got very few of the Transformers still functioning, and they're gathering up their dead, they're gathering up their wounded, and they're regrouping. So we start off with Spike, and we find that Spike here is he's having nightmares, and he's having nightmares that metal and robotic things are chasing after him. And so as he falls, as he goes through his nightmare, he continually falls down this hole, and he grabs for this wire every time as he falls down through this hole. And he finds that he wakes up in a cold sweat, and he's actually back home in his house. Is actually his dad's got a new house in Portland, Oregon. And he wakes up from that nightmare, and we find that he's going off to with a friend, and they're gonna go skiing. He's trying to get back to normal. He does still have that helmet that controls Fortress Maximus, but as you can see, he doesn't have his armor or anything like that. I always thought that their bodies were completely reformatted so that they could fold up, but apparently he has battle armor to do that. And so Spike is heading out to his ski trip, and he's going to take, he's going on a little errand to get rid of this. He wants nothing more to do with the Transformers, and so he's getting rid of that helmet that controls Fortress Maximus. So we cut over to, let's see, a little while ago, we see that Spike actually became the head of Cerebros because of Galen dying, and he wanted to save his brother Buster. Well, Buster's now safe and sound at home, and so he figures his work is done. He is now going to stop being Fortress Maximus's head, and he's decided. Optimus, gives him leave to go home, and you can see, they're having a tough time because they've got very few Transformers still functioning. They're very well. They're very much. I'm sorry, it was right here. So you can see Sea Spray pulling in. Looks like Blaster. Ooh, Blaster's got this big hole in his chest. Poor guy. So they're gathering up the wounded and such, but he's done. He doesn't want to do that anymore. He headed back home. Fortress Maximus now sits in cold storage in space without a head, and Spike is trying to get back to his own life. Buster's trying to get back to his own life too, but we really don't focus on Buster in this issue at all. Just that, Spike saved him. And so as Spike is heading down to see his friend hours away, he goes to like a junkyard, and he basically he's like, this place is as good as any, and he tosses away the helmet in a junkyard. Okay, just toss it anywhere. I'll just leave that there. And then he goes and he meets up with his buddy Cliff, and he and Cliff are gonna go skiing, and Cliff is just, I guess, a friend from college. It looks like Spike's been away from college maybe for a whole semester or something like that. Then we get a couple of guys trash picking at that junkyard, and in come two animal pretenders. And the animal pretenders are Snarler and, let's see, Carnivac. So Snarler and Carnivac. Carnivac is the wolf, and Snarler is like the pig, the wild boar. And so these two guys are looking for Spike, because Scorponok has decided that we need to terminate Spike. So they are on the trail of him. They're following like his fuel from his car. That's the scent that they got, even though, I guess every individual car has maybe got a different scent, whatever. So these guys are very, very much tracking him down. as they're driving, Cliff is driving and Spike is sleeping. Meanwhile, Spike has another nightmare, and it's this crazy nightmare of things trying to get him that are mechanical, and again he goes falling down that hole, and as he falls down that hole, he grabs that wire again, but the wire turns into a serpent, and he wakes up from that nightmare, and Cliff's like, oh, was that my driving? Was my driving bad? Whatever. So they make it to, let's see, Sierra Nevada mountains, where they're going on a ski trip, and here they're skiing, checking out the girls. Cliff is a klutz, and he keeps knocking things over, and so as they're just skiing, and the two Decepticon pretenders have now found the vehicle, and the vehicle is there, but the fleshing is gone. So they follow his scent up the mountain, and so they follow him on the mountain. So now you've got this giant wolf and this giant boar with big giant weapons strapped to their backs, chasing down Spike and his buddy Cliff, and causing havoc all over the entire ski area. Shooting at them, and so they're chasing after him. So Spike gets the idea. All right, throw your coat over, and so it looks like we've fallen over the cliff, and so they take off, and the two Decepticons go hurling down the cliff, and they got fooled. And so it's going to take them some time to climb up the cliff and find the trail again. Meanwhile, Spike and Cliff go into a cave, and they start warming themselves with a fire, because the fire is not going to draw the attention of these two Decepticons who are tailing him. And Spike tells Cliff a little bit about how he is with the Autobots, and how he was working with the Autobots, and he tells him that these things that are chasing him are Decepticons, and he's talking about his former self. Talking about and Cliff says, wait a second, that's what your dream is about. I bet it was your former self running, you were running from, not the monsters. So he's saying my former self, just Spike, regular old Spike, he's running from that, and he's running to being more with the Autobots and working with the Autobots. And, he's thinking of Fortress Maximus, and he was thinking that what he was falling into was the face of Fortress Maximus, the open mouth, so that, because he becomes the head of Fortress Maximus, he's falling there into Fortress Maximus. And is he becoming who he is through Fortress Maximus? So Spike decides that, he's going to nap, go into a trance, so that he can follow that whole dream all the way through, and he goes all the way down through and ends up, with Fortress Maximus. And we find that his binary bond with Fortress Maximus is actually much stronger than realized. He doesn't actually need the helmet to connect with Fortress Maximus. And now that they are in trouble and they need Fortress Maximus's help, he calls to him on the Ark out in space, and Fortress Maximus comes down to their rescue. So the Decepticons are closing in, and as they're trying to ski out and get away from him, they're firing at him. The Decepticons, they're attacking them. Let's see. Snarler has the helmet on his tusk. So as they head down, the guys, they're going to jump off this cliff. Again, we got Cliff with them. Jump off this cliff, and they're caught by Fortress Maximus, which is great, but then these two Decepticons come barreling in and knock him over. So as they knock him over, Fortress Maximus is now fighting, but it's Spike who's controlling the fighting, because Fortress Maximus isn't doing any of the fighting himself, because, again, he's the head of Fortress Maximus through Cerebros, and he is the one who's going to be in charge there. So he's fighting there, and the Decepticon pretenders, they break open their shells, and they get their robot parts there, and they go and attack. They attack Fortress Maximus, and they also attack a ski lift So, did they attack the ski lift yet? Well, they're going to. They attack the ski lift, and Fortress Maximus now has to hold on to that ski lift to keep the people from dying. So Spike is still controlling him, and he tells Fortress Maximus to dislodge his armor. Okay, so actually his buddy Cliff grabs the helmet so that Spike can have a better connection with Fortress Maximus. So Spike gets the helmet. He tells Fortress Maximus to dislodge his armor. He gets his armor, and then he has him dislodge Cerebros so that he can then transform into the head of Cerebros and then the head of Fortress Maximus. So Fortress Maximus, with Spike at the controls, uses his leg blasters to blast away the Decepticons. He lowers down the ski slope, ski lift with all the people gently so that they're fine, and off go the Decepticons. Fortress Maximus gets sent back up to space. Spike continues on with his life, but he does keep the helmet, and he's going to continue probably working with the Autobots after he has a little bit of time to himself. But so we see that Spike, he tried to get out, but they pull him back in. Anyway, it's Drew Bennett from Big Damn Kid. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook as Big Damn Kid. You can also find me here making videos every day. I'd love it if you like and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.